Hello guys, welcome back to another video. In the last video I showed how you can use automation to generate highly targeted lead lists and get emails and phone numbers of potential clients. This is the follow-up. I'll be showing you the exact automation that I used to generate my first clients. For those who don't know, my name is Clarence. I build and implement automated sales systems for B2B businesses. Over the past year, I've consistently added over 100,000 in sales pipeline per month to dozens of B2B businesses. If you're interested in outsourcing your sales and scale your business, there's a link in the description below. I'm looking forward to connect. Now that is out of the way, let's get back to the automation which leverages AI to enrich a lead and write a highly personalized email opener. Every time I tell someone about the business I'm in, which is using cold email for lead generation, people always ask me if email still works. My answer to that is quite simple, because statistically speaking, email marketing is still 40 times more effective than social media marketing. It's also very scalable using AI and automation, that is. It should be noted that the one thing that makes email work is personalization, and the more personalization you have in the email, the better it works and the better it converts. Sending a bulk email to 1,000 people might get you a few responses, but most, if not all of them, will be to kindly remove them from your subscriber list. Personalization solves this problem, gets you a lot of responses, a lot of bookings, and people actually feel like you've done your research and they're more willing to do business with you. The thing is that researching each and every lead and writing a personalized email to every one of them used to take way too much time. Luckily for you and luckily for me, we live in the age of AI and automation, which makes this a lot easier. Let's dive into the automation here on screen, since that's why you clicked on this video, and I'll go over each node step by step so everything is clear for everyone. Before I go over each node step by step, I want to get two things out of the way. As you can see here, I use a webhook to trigger this workflow. The webhook is deactivated because I'm going to show you guys one specific example. This webhook, to put it simply, is just a trigger from another website or some other software which sends something to this webhook to get this started, and usually contains some information. In this case, for this workflow, it would contain the information of the record ID, which it then needs to get from the Airtable. I'll get into that into a second. First, let me go over why I'm using two if nodes for those who have been looking at our screen quite closely. The reason being is that if you scrape leads from Apollo, and even though your filters are very strict, let's say you're only filtering for businesses inside of the US, which I am doing, there might also sometimes be some businesses which aren't based in the US, which are based in India, the UK, France, whatever. That's why I've implemented this extra step. When retrieving all the information from Apollo, I also retrieve the company's HQ location. If that's not in the US, then this simply goes down to false and it updates my Airtable stating the business not in the US, don't pursue this lead. Same goes for this check. This checks if it's a B2B or a B2C business. I'm in the lead generation services business for B2B companies. So sending a email to B2C companies offering my services is of no use. It'll most likely just get me put into a spam folder, which will hurt the reputation of my email account and also hurt my deliverability in the long run. Now that has been covered, let me dive into each node step by step and let me show you how this magic actually works. So first off, I'm pulling a lead from the Airtable. So I'm simply pulling a lead from a list of leads. So usually on the input side there's some information, because this is on the left side, there's a webhook which then would have received not only a trigger but also the record ID information. So you would input this record ID information as a variable here. So this is the JSON code for that, json.query.recordID. But as I already said, because I'm just using one example, I copy and pasted the specific record ID of this person, Matt Penfold. All the information you see over here on the output side is just information that is scraped from Apollo. So I've not done any research. This is just simply an Apollo scraper. If you haven't done it and you want more information on how to get all this information, like their LinkedIn URL, their company website, etc., email address, just go watch my previous video. Then a bit further down the line, you might notice a wait note. Some might be thinking, why do you use a wait note? That's because, let's say I bulk trigger workflows from Airtable. So I want a lot of leads to be enriched at the same time. This sometimes caused my HTTP request node to give me a timeout error saying there are too many requests at the same time. So I simply added a wait node which waits 3 seconds between each and every one of them to give this one some more time and not make it give me an error. The LinkedIn company scraper, all it does is literally get the LinkedIn organization URL from the left side. It goes to the website and retrieves all of the HTML from that page. As you can see, there's a lot of unnecessary stuff, and as always, we only want to retrieve the text. So that's why I use this code node. You see this code node all over the place. In this case, remove HTML, and in this case, remove HTML. It is used to remove the HTML from the retrieved web page it got, and the other ones I will go over in a second. So this is code I wrote with the assistance of ChatGPT. For those who don't know, I have some experience with code and I can get myself somewhere, but I don't know everything. So luckily for me, I can call upon ChatGPT whenever it's needed. As you might remember from the last note, and it's also here on the input side, there is a lot of HTML which was retrieved from the web page. That's why I use this code. This code simply filters all the HTML and only returns me the plain text. As you can see on the right side, all you can see is plain text, no code anywhere, perfect filter. You can, to save yourself a lot of time, just pause this video. I'll show you the code very slowly. Just put it on a notepad somewhere and paste it in for yourself. Continuing on, maybe give you some oversight. So in this HTTP request node, we retrieved all the HTML from the company LinkedIn profile. The company LinkedIn profile contains a lot of information about the number of employees the company has, an about section, sometimes some recent posts the company posted on there, depending on the size of the company and how involved they are in the modern world. In this ChatGPT node, I simply ask it to summarize and find the most relevant posts from the company LinkedIn profile. I won't read out all of the prompts, so same as you did for the code node, please just pause your video and write this down somewhere, because it's a lot to go over. And it's also very specific on the services you're offering, because I want to know some different information and some different insights to target my specific offer to them. And you, depending on the service you offer, might have something completely different in mind. One thing to note is that I output all of this content as a JSON, and I also tell it here in the prompt how I want it to output each and every time. That's because later down in this workflow, I'm going to use some of these sections, and I want them to always be outputted in the same way. Otherwise, you might get some errors here and there. Just take note of that. Then for the second code node, this is once again quite a simple code, even though it might look confusing to the untrained eye. If I were you, I would just pause the video and copy this for yourself. What this does is put all of the JSON, which you can see on the left side, are all individual pieces of information, and it turns it into one piece of text, which is once again a lot easier. Well, it's the only kind of feasible way. The AI, the ChatGPT node, which I'm using further down this workflow to kind of read through this all. So the same as for the remove HTML code node, I also have 3 of these views input. That is because at several points in the workflow, I want the output of the LLM, in this case the ChatGPT node, to be outputted as a JSON, because there might be some specific parts of that output that I want to use as input in something else. And to use it as input consistently, it needs to be the same code each and every time. And for it to be the same code each and every time, it's best to output it as a JSON. Otherwise, it's a lot of prompting, and those prompts might not always be as detailed or as specific or as effective as you want them to be. So save yourself some time, output the ChatGPT response as a JSON if you need it further down the line, and then simply use a code node to then fuse it back together in one piece of text. So I already went over the if node, so I'll skip over that for now, which brings us onto the get company website, which is once again simply a HTTP request node put to get. This is quite a bit of code. This is simply because this is an if it's available, use this, if not, use the other. So you can copy this, but you can also save yourself some time, because 9 out of 10 times the lead information scraped from Apollo includes the company website. So you could also just put this company website and paste it here as a variable to get the HTML from their company website, which in this case is everything you see on the output side. Once again, you see some text like over here, but you see a lot of unnecessary HTML, which is also hard to read for the large language model. So we are filtering this once again using this code node with the exact same code as we had before. So if you paused it and copied this, it'll look exactly the same as this. And on the right side, we can once again see it has filtered 99% of the HTML and just only the plain text remains. For the second large language model node, I ask it to analyze the data from the company website. Once again, I won't read through the entire prompt because I think it's a waste of time since it's quite specific, but you can copy this for yourself and make some adjustments where needed. Here I ask it to retrieve product and service analysis. I ask it to look for the key messaging and the value proposition of the service of the business. And I ask it to do content analysis. So if there are any success stories or whatever, it'll let me know. And then on the right side, you would get the output. For the person who's paying attention, this is not being outputted as a JSON. This is already one piece of text because I'm not using any of these outcomes specifically in other nodes. So you might be wondering, oh, if you're not outputting this as a JSON, why is this a fuse input node right after it? That's because I want these two texts, the summarize the relevant plus relevancy of the LinkedIn company profile and the analytics of the company website, to be fused into one piece of text altogether. As you can see, source 1 is company website and source 2, which is why it looks a bit strange, is the fused together JSON from the company LinkedIn business profile. And then the combined text is everything, exactly everything. A bit of a different code, even easier code. Once again, mostly written by ChatGPT, understood by me, pasted in here, tested a few times, and then it works. Then this is quite a strange note to some of you, because you might say, I already pulled the company name from Apollo. Yes, you did, but sometimes that company names includes ink or includes some texts which you would never use writing an email to someone. Because let's say you're emailing someone at Tesla, and it would have been a startup, but let's use Tesla for an example. And you would say, hey, great growth, or amazing seeing your growth with Tesla Inc. Nobody uses Tesla Inc. when talking to someone who works at Tesla. You just talk about Tesla. So you want to erase that Inc. part, or erase whatever they've put as their company business name, and clean it, so to say. In this case, there was nothing strange about it. The company is called First Inc. It was already called First. So all that's remaining is First. It's interesting because I use O1 Mini for this, the reasoning model. And it's a very short prompt because it's a very easy task. As you can see, sometimes the name might include LLC, Inc. or Limited if you're talking about UK companies. And you just want to filter that and keep a clean company name so you can address them in your business email, in your cold email. Which brings me on to the summarize input node. What this does, or what the input actually is the analyze content from the LinkedIn company profile and from the business website. Here you have the prompts, and here is the more specific prompt. I ask it to do several things: define the company's industry, summarize the main mission or values, describe the main product, summarize that main product, highlight the company's main USP, identify the type of company, and identify their target audience and their ICP, ideal client profile, and output it exactly like this. So it's also outputted as a JSON. You can see, and you can also see it on the right. So for first, this is the output. It's a clean technology and energy management, etc., etc. But where it's interesting is you've retrieved quite some information, some recent posts from the LinkedIn business profile, but also maybe some post or some text on the website which highlighted a specific achievement. And this node picks out one of them, the one it finds most notable. Excited to work with Arcadia to solve problems for large corporate energy users. So this is most likely a business partnership. I filtered it to make this a recent achievement. So this is probably within the last 9 months, which we can then later on use in this one, because I'm skipping over the code node for now as I'm on a tangent. But in this one, we use specifically that, the excited to work with Arcadia to solve problems for large corporate energy users, to create a personalization. So the opening line of the cold email would be: impressed by your partnership with Arcadia, taking our major energy challenge for large customers. Let's say you are the founder or CEO of First, the company we are targeting, which we pulled from the Airtable, and you would read this personalization. One I just read over: impressed by partnership with Arcadia, taking on major energy and challenges for large customers. It's something highly specific. The least you would think is that I would have scrolled either through your website or through your company LinkedIn profile, and I took some time to research your company, which I didn't. This is literally, this entire workflow is triggered by a press on the button, or to be more specific, ticking a checkbox in Airtable, and it outputs all this information, saving you a lot of time, and also meaning you can do this in bulk. Depending on how many email accounts you have, you can do this you can send 100 of these emails a day. After you've generated a personalization, which is usually just the opening line or the second line of a cold email, we simply update the Airtable with all the information we received. We use the ID to match, so this is the exact same record ID we use to pull lead from Airtable. In that node, we upload the clean company name, so it's there for future reference. We upload all the information we got from their LinkedIn company profile, same from their business website. We also upload the summary, but let's say you want more information or the summary isn't clear, which might sometimes be the case. You can just look back at more elaborate information. We upload the personalization. In this case, I also upload the time, which is just simple. We upload what type of company it is, and we upload their product and service. So in just a quick overview in your CRM, you exactly know what this company is about. Let's say they schedule a meeting and you need to do some research. We do the same in the node below. This is a HTTP request node sent to post, method as post actually. This is simply a Instantly API, which Instantly is my cold email software. It's the cold email software that I use and that I recommend because it's very easy to use and also very easy to set up. And I simply send all the information. So I sent email address, first name, but also its personalization that we generated, and once again, type of company, product and services. In future videos, I will show you how I set up my Instantly and how you can copy that exactly, but for this case, it's not really necessary. Good thing to note, this can be an API upload to whatever you use. You can also do it manually, but on this channel, we try to automate as much as possible. But let's say you use SmartLead or something else to send emails. You can just, it can be whatever. That's all I'm trying to say. Well, that just rests me to say, if you've watched all the way through the end of this video, I want to thank you for watching. Please consider leaving a like and subscribing. Videos like this will be more common in the future. This is the exact example I used to get my first clients a few months ago. So I'm sure it'll help somebody out there. If you have any questions, you can leave them down in the comments below. Once again, if you're interested in outsourcing your sales as a B2B business, please look at the description below. There is a link to a discovery call, to a cal.com link to get in touch with me. And I can see, or we can discuss how I can be of service to your business and help you scale massively like I've done for others. That is it for today. I'll see you guys in the near future, I promise. Thank you for watching, and bye.